Hey everyone, ready for a glimpse into the financial future?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Today we're going to deep dive into 5 key financial trends that are predicted to totally reshape 2025.
That's right. We've got some fascinating research we're going to break down.
It's all about helping you stay ahead of the curve, making those smart money moves.
Exactly. This is about making informed financial decisions.
We're not just chasing hype here. This is for you. You're the kind of person who wants to know, like, the why behind the what, right?
I like that, the why.
Not just listing trends, but really getting into how they work, how they could affect you. So first up, something you might have heard of, maybe a little intimidating, decentralized finance. DeFi for short.
Yes, DeFi.
That's kind of complex, right?
It can sound that way. Like, where do you even start?
But basically, imagine a world without those big banks we're all used to.
Okay, I'm listening. No more big banks.
That's the core idea behind DeFi.
It is. DeFi uses cryptocurrency and something called the blockchain to do a lot of the things that banks do: lending, borrowing, even earning interest.
Ah, okay. So it's like cutting out the middleman.
You got it. It's all done on these decentralized platforms. Imagine like a peer-to-peer network, but for your finances.
Interesting. So what's the big appeal here? Why is everyone so excited about DeFi?
Well, there are a few reasons. Lower fees, for one. You're not dealing with the overhead of a traditional bank.
I like the sound of that already. Fewer fees.
Plus, there's the potential for, better returns on your investments. But the real game changer, I think, is control.
Control.
DeFi puts you back in the driver's seat when it comes to your money, more control over your own finances. It's really resonating with people who are looking for that kind of financial independence.
Makes sense. Taking control, cutting out the middleman. That's appealing.
It is.
Now, our research, it mentions some specific platforms in the DeFi space, like Uniswap, Aave, Compound. Have you heard of those?
I have. Yeah, there are some of the bigger players. But like with anything new, you got to do your research.
Right. Got to be cautious, right?
Definitely. DeFi is still kind of in its early stages. It's promising for sure, but caution is key.
All right. Solid advice. Now let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about sustainable investing, or as they call it, ESG investing.
ESG?
It's becoming more and more popular, not just a niche thing anymore.
Definitely not. More and more people want their investments to align with their values.
Yeah, it's about putting your money where your heart is.
Yeah.
But tell me more about ESG. What does it actually stand for?
So ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. It's about investing in companies that are, committed to sustainability, responsible business practices,
Yeah.
ethical behavior, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm seeing the appeal there.
Yeah.
But beyond just feeling good, are there any financial benefits to ESG investing?
Well, there's a growing awareness of things like climate change, social responsibility, and that's driving people to rethink where their money goes.
Makes sense.
And research is actually showing that companies with strong ESG practices, well, they often perform better in the long run.
Oh, interesting. So doing good can also be good for your portfolio.
Exactly. It's a win-win. Now, our research mentions a couple of ways to get started with ESG investing. ETFs, for example, exchange-traded funds.
Okay, yeah, ETFs.
They specifically highlight the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF and the Vanguard ESG US Stock ETF. Those are good starting points because they offer instant diversification within the ESG world.
So you can dip your toes in without having to pick and choose individual stocks.
Exactly. But of course, you can always do that too if you want to be more hands-on, research individual companies that are, leaders in sustainability.
So many options.
There are.
Now, for you personally, how much do these ESG factors play into your own investment decisions?
That's a great question. I think for a lot of people, it's about realizing you don't have to compromise your values to reach your financial goals.
Right. Yeah, that's a powerful idea. Okay, get ready for this next one. It feels almost futuristic. AI-powered investing.
AI is changing everything, right? Why not investing too?
Exactly. It's not about robots running Wall Street. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
It's about how artificial intelligence is changing the way we invest.
Right. So AI can analyze huge amounts of data, spot trends that humans might miss, like having a supercomputer as your investment advisor.
Wow, that's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. But how does this work in the real world? Can anyone use this?
Well, think about those robo-advisor platforms. You've probably heard of them. Betterment, Wealthfront, Acorns.
Yeah, okay, I've heard of those.
They use AI to create personalized investment portfolios,
Yeah.
offer advice, and often they're cheaper than traditional advisors.
Right, and that's a big deal. It makes investing more accessible.
Yeah, breaks down those barriers to entry. Our source actually points out that those platforms are great for people who are new to investing or maybe just prefer a more hands-off approach.
It's about options.
Right.
More options for everyone.
Absolutely. And speaking of accessibility, there's another tech-driven trend that's really shaking things up. Fintech savings and investment apps. You know those apps on your phone that let you do all sorts of financial things?
Oh yeah, those are everywhere now.
Micro-investing, no commission trading, even just rounding up your purchases to save spare change.
It's like they're making managing money more user-friendly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super convenient, sometimes even a little fun, right?
Yeah, it takes away some of the intimidation that people used to feel about investing. It makes it seem less like, Wall Street and more like something you can do from your couch.
I like that. Couch investing.
Exactly. And they really are making it easier for people to start investing, even if they're starting with small amounts. It's not all about big investments anymore.
It's about making smart financial choices a part of everyday life.
Exactly.
Now, we can't talk about these apps without naming a few. Our source mentions Robinhood, Revolut, and Stash as popular choices. Each one has its own features, strengths. It's kind of amazing how many options there are now.
There are. It's like find the tools that work for you.
Exactly. We're curious, though. What about you? Are you using any of these fintech apps yourself? What do you like about them? Or maybe what don't you like?
Oh, that's a good question.
Sharing your experience could be really helpful for others who are trying to figure out which apps to use.
It's all about sharing and learning from each other's experiences, finding the tools that work for you.
Okay, ready for our last trend for this part of the deep dive?
Hit me.
This one is about disrupting a traditionally very exclusive domain, real estate crowdfunding.
Real estate. Used to be only for the super wealthy. You needed a ton of money to get started.
Exactly. But crowdfunding, it's changing all that, making it possible for everyday people to invest in real estate.
Democratizing real estate, you could say.
Exactly. You don't need a fortune anymore. Thanks to these crowdfunding platforms, you can invest in projects with, much smaller amounts of money.
Like how small are we talking?
Sometimes starting with as little as $500. It's basically pooling your money with other investors to buy into a property or a development project.
Interesting. So what's the upside of going this route?
Well, for starters, it allows you to diversify your investments. Instead of putting all your money into one property, you can spread it across several, lowering your risk.
That makes sense. Spreading the risk.
And then there's the potential for passive income, through rental properties or just property value going up.
Yeah. Okay, I see that.
But here's what I think is really cool. Crowdfunding lets you invest in projects that, align with your interests or your values.
Oh, so?
Imagine investing in sustainable housing developments, for example.
Yeah, I like that.
Revitalization projects in your community, even historical properties. It adds a personal element to your investment portfolio.
It does. Makes it less about just numbers and more about being part of something you believe in.
Exactly. And it all comes back to those themes we've been talking about: accessibility, empowerment, giving individuals more control over their finances, letting them participate in markets that were once out of reach.
I like it.
But as with any investment, research is key.
Of course. Always got to do your homework.
Our source mentions a couple of platforms, Fundrise and Realty Mogul. But there are tons out there. Take the time to compare fees, look at track records, really understand the projects they're offering before you jump in.
Make those informed decisions.
Exactly. Now, what about you? Was real estate investing something you'd ever considered before?
Interesting question.
What were your thoughts on it? Does this crowdfunding approach, change your perspective at all?
It definitely makes you think. It's great to see how these platforms are making real estate investing more user-friendly, making it more accessible. It really is amazing to see how technology is opening up these investment opportunities that used to be so exclusive.
I know, right? It's really powering. So we've covered a lot of ground here. DeFi, AI-powered investing, ESG investing, fintech apps, even real estate crowdfunding.
Yeah, we've been all over the map.
It's clear that technology and changing attitudes are really reshaping the way we think about money.
For sure. And for someone like you who's clearly interested in, staying ahead of the curve.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a glimpse into the future of finance.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. But it's not just about knowing the trends, right?
No, not at all.
It's about understanding what they mean for you, how you can actually use this information to reach your financial goals.
Exactly. That's where knowledge really makes a difference. It's about making informed decisions, being able to navigate this ever-changing world of finance, and ultimately creating a financial future that aligns with your your values, your aspirations.
Okay, so let's take a step back for a second and reflect on what we've learned. First off, it's obvious that technology is a huge driver in finance now and will continue to be.
No doubt about it.
DeFi, robo-advisors, fintech apps. The way we interact with money is becoming increasingly digital,
It is.
which is exciting, but it can also be a bit overwhelming, Like, how do we even keep up?
It's a lot to take in.
What are your thoughts on, navigating this shift to a more digital financial world?
I think the key is to be curious, but also cautious. Do your research, make sure you understand the risks involved, and choose platforms and tools that you're comfortable with.
Right. Take it one step at a time.
Exactly. Don't feel pressured to jump into anything that doesn't feel right.
Solid advice.
Yeah.
Another big takeaway for me is the growing focus on values-based investing, ESG investing. It's not just a niche thing anymore.
Definitely not.
More and more people want to support companies that are, doing good in the world.
It's about recognizing that our investments have an impact beyond just our own portfolios, right?
Exactly. That's powerful.
And
And then there's the whole idea of accessibility in finance. We talked about DeFi platforms reaching out to people who don't have access to traditional banks, robo-advisors making investing less intimidating, crowdfunding opening doors to real estate.
It's like we're breaking down those barriers.
What do you think this means for the future of finance?
It's huge. This democratization of finance, it empowers more people to take control of their financial well-being. It's about creating a more inclusive financial system, a more equitable one.
I love that. Leveling the playing field, giving everyone a chance to build a secure financial future. But let's be real for a second.
Okay, let's get real.
We've talked about a lot of really exciting possibilities, but any investment comes with risk.
Absolutely. Risk is always a factor.
The financial landscape can be unpredictable. Things change constantly. There's always the potential for, volatility, for ups and downs.
For sure. It's crucial to have a long-term perspective when it comes to investing. Diversify your portfolio and never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Right. Got to manage that risk.
Exactly. Risk management is essential for any sound investment strategy.
I think that's such an important point. It's about finding that balance, between exploring new opportunities and managing risk responsibly. And of course, if you have specific questions or need personalized guidance, talking to a financial advisor is always a good idea.
A good advisor can be so valuable. They can help you figure out your risk tolerance, come up with an investment strategy that's tailored to your needs. It's like having a trusted guide in the world of finance.
It really is. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
let's talk about what you, our listener, can do to stay ahead of the curve in this constantly changing financial landscape. What are some practical steps you can take to make the most of these trends? To build a strong financial foundation.
The most important thing is to stay informed. Read financial news, follow blogs and podcasts, like this one.
Absolutely.
The more you understand about what's happening in the financial world, the better decisions you'll be able to make. Knowledge is power.
I love that. Knowledge is power.
Don't be afraid to experiment a little. Try out different fintech apps, look into sustainable investment options, maybe even dip your toes into the world of DeFi. The more you explore, the better you'll understand what works for you, what aligns with your goals and your values.
Yeah, it's all about finding what clicks for you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And building a financial strategy that feels, authentically you.
It really is. Finding what works for you. Building that personalized financial strategy.
Exactly. Like this isn't one size fits all,
No, not at all. What else do you think is important for people to keep in mind as they navigate this evolving financial world?
I think, remembering that this is a journey, not a destination.
Ooh, I like that.
The financial world is constantly changing, so be adaptable. Stay curious. Never stop learning.
Yeah, keep growing.
Exactly. And the more you engage with these trends, the better you'll be able to adapt and thrive in this new financial era.
It is a new era. It's like we're all on this exciting adventure together, figuring things out as we go, exploring these new possibilities.
I like that. An adventure. It's a good way to think about it.
It is. It is. So to our listener, as you continue on your financial journey,
Yeah,
remember that knowledge is your biggest asset.
it really is.
Stay curious. Keep learning. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Ask all the questions.
What's the most important thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
I'd say don't let the complexity of the financial world intimidate you. You have more power than you think to shape your own financial future.
You do. You really do.
And remember, we're all in this together.
We are. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep reaching for those financial goals that matter to you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode. We hope you found this deep dive into the top financial trends of 2025 informative and empowering.
We had a lot of fun.
We did. Until next time, stay curious and keep diving.